Are you pretty frustrated with how you quit on yourself when things don't go well? And you find yourself in the pantry or online shopping, or the clock is now 11:30 and you've just been scrolling for the last 45 minutes. You don't even know where the time went. Well, if that's you, you're not alone. And this episode is perfect for you on how you can overcome some of these obstacles that you don't even really understand what's happening because it's such a subconscious pattern. Right, my name is Dara Thomason, and I am a life coach who helps women take care of the mental tangles and frustrations so that we can get to the root of the issue. So then your physical health improves. You're not turning to food all the time, and you truly are creating the kind of life and the kind of body that you want to have, no matter what age and stage you are in life. And this is episode 150 of Love Yourself Thin podcast, Weight Loss and Rejection. 150 episodes, ladies. That's amazing. I am the queen of my podcast. 150 episodes. I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so proud of the team that I have. I've had several people working on my podcast over the years. Can't believe I can say that. And I'm so proud of this podcast. Apparently, it's rated top 2% of all podcasts. That's fun. Last year was top 5%. And I love hearing from people who join my program and they already know so much. And then they are so delighted when they come in the program because they realize, well, this is when we get to actually like hardcore, let's get this done work. It's really fun. I'm so glad you're here. I start off my podcast this year, 2024. I'm starting off with sharing the ripple effects of what happens with the people who are in my program for 150th episode. Today is June 5th that you're listening to this. One of the members in the membership, and she actually shared this with me 3 weeks ago. She's allowed to put 3 quilts in her local fair. She has all the quilt made and quilted. She just needs to put on the binding. She doesn't even have to put a sleeve on because they don't have to in this quilt show. But she's never been this far ahead. She's never been this organized, and she is so thrilled. The reason why this affects everybody else is she lives in a house of 3 generations. So she lives with her mother and her daughter. But because she's so ahead in her schedule, she is not stressing out. She's not snippy because she really is prioritizing herself. Really great. So happy for her and so happy for her household. It's a much happier place. So today's episode is something that I've kind of touched on in the past podcasts, but I have been noticing this has been coming up when we talk about rejection. My first public school teaching job, I taught grade 4, 5, and 6. So I had 3 grades in one classroom. But if you've ever been in a classroom in the last, 30, 40 years, just because you're in grade 4 doesn't mean you're operating from a grade 4 perspective. I had kids that could barely read. I had a huge spectrum of kids in their abilities. When you think about reading, at the beginning, you need to know that the letters, when they big squiggly things, they all represent different sounds. And then those sounds, sometimes they change, and then they have like letter pals. So if you put a T and an H together, that makes a whole different sound, or a C and an H together, or an S and an A. We have all of these different codes that we have to decipher and figure out. And the more that you can get into that, the more that you grow and develop. As we progress as humans, into the same thing. So when I first started my coaching business, I was just this beginner. And now that I've run my business for 3.5 years, I have a team. I have different challenges. I have different things that I'm always working through. And rejection is a very interesting concept. And I have cited in the show notes, there's quite a bit of work actually done on our hormones and how our hormones are affected by rejection. And this whole concept came to me when I was reading the book Rejection Proof. And it's such a fascinating book to me. And it really reinforced what we now know about our wiring as humans. And I'm going to bring this together. And especially if you look at the worksheet There's actually it's another double pager, but I have a lot of different thoughts about rejection that I want to share with you. The first thing I want to share is when you lose weight, and especially when you lose weight from an unconventional way. So my approach to weight loss is that the more that you love yourself, the more that you respect yourself, the more that you have kindness and compassion, the more that you prioritize yourself, weight loss becomes the side effect. Well, I'm not a huge proponent of counting calories or tracking steps. It's just not necessary. And I've had some women join my program. They're like, no, 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 I'm just going to keep doing that. And I'm like, well, not really important. Doesn't really matter. And they don't have the success because they don't walk into their own shoes. Like they don't become their own expert. Because the thing is, we know what foods work for us and what don't. Like we know that if we eat a lot of chocolate or chips or ice cream, we know if we're eating and we're leaving the table feeling stuffed and gross, we know that we're just going to gain weight. So we don't have a knowledge problem. But what really makes me different, and the reason why my program is so life-changing, is because we're finally getting to the root of the problem. Now, the issue is we can be rejected by people. I have friends that they're no longer my friends because I've lost weight. Because the problem is a lot of our friendship was based on whining and complaining about weight loss. This book I read, When Women Stop Hating Their Bodies. It's written by Jane Hirschman and Carol Munter. This was published in 1995. But they talk about fat language. They talk about how we learn at a young age to speak fat, just like we speak English or speak French or whatever that is. So a teacher told us that she was waiting in the wings with a group of 11-year-old girls on the opening night of a play they had been rehearsing for weeks. As they were listening nervously to the overture, I heard one of them, this is the teacher, say to the friend, "I feel so fat." "No," her friend responded, "you look great, but look how big my stomach is." They were terribly anxious, and the teacher realized that they've already learned to do what all of us do. They talk about their bodies instead of their anxiety. Very soon, many of these 11-year-old girls who secretly wish to be in the spotlight will go on diets and attempt to make themselves smaller. Look at me, don't look at me, the paradox of young girlhood. The statement, "I feel fat," is never really about fat, even if you are a fat person. Each time a woman looks at her thighs and says, "Yuck," she's really saying there's something wrong with me or with that, what I'm feeling. We turn our bodies into metaphors for all of our bad feelings, and we find confirmation for doing so everywhere we look. So, having said that, the problem is we don't know how to articulate our feelings. So let's go back to rejection. When we don't know how to talk about our feelings or work through our feelings, we don't feel like we're at ease with ourselves. So we're basically rejecting these negative emotions and we don't know how to deal with it. So when I was in life coach school training, one of the trainings that I received there was this idea of rejection, a list, and using that list of rejection as like muscle training. There was one of the mentors that she had, and I apologize, I'm not sure who exactly it was, but he had them write a list, like keep a running tally of all their rejections. And the longer the list, the better. Because what it was doing was it's helping you to be more resilient. And it taught you that it's totally fine to be rejected. It's totally fine to have them say that that's not a good fit. Because the longer the list, the more data that you have and the more information that you have. And so you can become more empowered. On the handout here, and those who are listening, I just have 10. Just write down 10 things. And then the more no's, the more yeses that will come. And you can learn from that. I had an experience recently where I was on Instagram and this person came on and she was sharing about her weight gain and how she had so she went to Mexico and she got gastric bypass surgery. And I think she lost 75 pounds. But the problem that she was on the live and she was sharing how stressed she is about being able to keep that weight off and how she was feeling like she had to give herself a lot of ultimatums and she had to be really like strict with herself. And the way that she was talking was very difficult for me to listen to. And so I just said, it sounds like you're being really mean to yourself. And she didn't want to hear it. And in fact, she said, I'm really triggered by you. I felt terrible because I do not ever want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to make people's lives worse. I could just see this pattern of like, if you talk to yourself that way and if you keep that relationship so negative, it's just going to make it worse and worse. That was really hard for me. I felt very scared and nervous, and I felt like I really had to hold my tongue and that I had to be really careful. And that that's not that's not how I'm going to help people. That's not how I'm going to serve people. And one of the things that I want to share with you is like, if like I'm not going to be for everybody and you're not going to be for everybody. So those friends that I was telling you that I had that aren't really my friends anymore because now I've lost this weight and it's like easy for me. I don't stress out about it. Like today I was up a little bit on the scale. I wasn't worried. I said, "Oh, it's okay. We're just gonna keep doing what we know what to do. Our body just naturally, sometimes we go up, sometimes we go down. It's just normal." So they not rejecting me per se, but they just don't. That friendship was based on kind of like fat talk, right? Like those girls. Another example I had, I'm working on producing a TV show. And I hired a videographer, I hired an editor, and it was rejected. And I had 5 episodes made. I put a lot of money into it. You're really good on camera. We could see a lot of potential, but the way that it's done, all of that, it's not good enough. That was obviously tough to work through. But when those experiences happen, I want to offer to you that you can make a choice. Now, in this book, Rejection Proof, he has this crazy concept of, just going up to people. Like he went up to a security guard and said, "Can I have $100?" He went up to Krispy Kreme and asked them to make donuts with the Olympic rings. And he went out to some guy's house, knocked on the door and said, "Can I plant this plant in your backyard?" Like just crazy things. Asked the pilot if he could fly the plane and asked McDonald's. I can't remember exactly if he asked McDonald's for a Big Mac McDonald's for a Whopper or a Big Mac. He did crazy things that clearly are very easy for him to get rejected. And there's the 3 premises of his book. The first one is rejection is a powerful tool for personal growth and can help us overcome fear and develop resilience. Number 2, by embracing rejection and seeking it out, we can expand our comfort zones and increase our chances of success. Number 3, the ability to handle rejection is a skill that can be learned and developed, leading to a greater confidence and a willingness to pursue our dreams. Lastly, maintaining a mindset, and this is one of the things that I am absolutely amazing at. A mindset of curiosity and open-mindedness is essential. Curiosity was one of my greatest tools and continues to be one of my greatest tools of losing the weight, keeping it off, building this business that I have. Actively seeking out new experiences, embracing diversity, and cultivating a willingness to step outside one's comfort zone can lead to personal growth and decrease in fear of rejection. This mindset allows for a more adventurous and fulfilled life, as well as various opportunities that may arise from unexpected places. This is a summary that I found online that I thought, it captured it really well. Now, by implementing these detailed actions into daily life, you can gradually overcome the fear of rejection and embrace the possibilities that lie beyond it. So last week when I was at H&H in Chicago, there was definitely an opportunity for people to come up to me and say, "Why are you talking about weight loss at a quilt show?" This is for a professional quilter. I was prepared for that because I am a professional quilter and I do have my book that I sell, but I also help quilters and creatives, whoever resonates with what I'm saying, to overcome their obstacle so that they can become more creative. They can spend more time doing what they love. I have embraced that I am a mindset coach because really, when you look at it, I'm not necessarily per se a weight loss because you become your own expert at weight loss. I teach you the basic science, but essentially what I'm doing is I'm teaching you tools to help you overcome your own obstacles because I help you with the neuroscience, right? Sorry, the thinking problem. We don't have knowledge problems. We have thinking problems. I was prepared that people can, and people still can do that. There are some shows that I apply for and they say, no, we don't want you to talk about life coaching. So no, you can't come to our quilt show. Then this is not the right fit. So as I continue to explain this concept of rejection, the keys lie in consistently pushing boundaries, reframing rejection, practicing empathy, embracing vulnerability, building resilience, and maintaining curiosity. So through these actions, one can cultivate a mindset that not only welcomes rejection, but also uses it as a catalyst for personal growth, fulfillment, and increased confidence. So the reason I call the members in my program Brave Hearts is because they are finally looking at these underlying issues. I could call myself a perfectionist coach. I could call myself a people-pleasing coach. I could call myself a procrastinating coach. I could call myself a buffering, spend too much money on fabric coach, or watch too much Instagram coach. Those are all the things that you can overcome when you learn these tools. What I first say is, hey, listen, you have this extra weight on your body because you have not figured out how to speak the language of emotion. So just like those girls that were super uncomfortable, we have been learning subconsciously since 10, 9, whatever age, to feel uncomfortable in our skin because we have not learned to feel our feelings. We procrastinate, we become perfectionists, we people please. Like we do all these things because we don't know how to learn how to feel our feelings and work through it. I want you to learn how to turn to yourself instead of learning to turn to food or perfectionism or reels or whatever that is. That is my goal. And that is why I'm so glad you're here on this podcast. I couldn't be happier. Honestly, it brings me so much joy. It's why this is 7:00 on a Friday night. And I'm doing this because I want to make sure that when I have these ideas, they've been percolating and I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that my team gets this, that I can get this out there in the world, that you can know these things. I will never forget how powerful and how eternally grateful I am to Jody Moore and Brooke Castillo, who put out these podcasts that I just was a sponge. I can't believe that I can change the way that I'm thinking and the way that I'm acting. And the fact that I now have a lifetime membership of women, I'm recording this, over 130 women. I have the privilege and honor of being their coach. This is amazing. And I've created all of this with my brain. I've created all of this with the tools that I teach you in my program. So I'm just going to share some quotes before I say goodbye because your walk is almost over, I'm sure, or whatever you're working on. The more rejection you face, the more desensitize yourself to it, making it easier to make risks and pursue your dreams. Amen. Amen. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of other person's preferences, biases, or circumstances. That's the one thing I'm going to teach you. Your worth is already set. By facing rejection, we gain a better understanding of ourselves and what we truly want. Rejection is an opinion, and opinions can be changed. Nobody can reject you without your own permission. Thank you, Jia Jiang. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. It's just such an interesting book, such an interesting concept. It goes against our wiring as humans, and we need to learn how to create that safety for ourselves, especially when it comes to weight loss. So we need to have that physical safety. We need to change the pattern. The more that you learn on this podcast and the more that you can get help implementing it and building these new neural pathways and these new ways of doing things, the happier, healthier, and more satisfied your life is going to be. And when you join my program, I'm like never going to apologize. I'm going to invite you because I see it every day. I see it every day with myself. I see it every day with the members in my program, how different their lives are. They are literally saving their own lives. I have a member who had cancer and she has lost like 80 pounds. And having lost that 80 pounds, that longevity for her, the chances for like her recovery is just so much better. You don't take this, however you're feeling right now, don't take it lightly. If you're feeling compelled, go for it. Now, in the month of June, we are taking a really deep dive into menopause. So we have guest experts that are teaching us about menopause and what it feels like to be in a menopausal. So I have a cancer survivor, and she's a board certified nutritionist, and she's going to talk all about the kinds of foods that we should eat. I have other experts that are coming. This is an amazing time for you. And then in the month of July, we're going to be working on how to become your own bestie, like truly becoming your own best friend. And then in August, we're working on how to lose 2 pounds every week in August. It's amazing. There's so much to look forward to. There's so much to learn and to grow and develop. I have my brand new modules that are amazing. I'm getting such good feedback from them. And I also have my 911 how to guide within the program. So if you're feeling like panic or you're not feeling like you're on the right track, I have these modules that like little videos that will help you to get back on track. So it's like a first aid kit to help you. There's so much there. And I'm so happy to be a part of that. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.